Teacup, Tempest by Wigworm. Sakura pursed her lips as she watched her sensei. She hadn't known that he was married or had a child, and apparently thought that his son was more important than the Hokage. She supposed that meant that he really did love his family. To see him reading porn after gaining that knowledge raised her feminine hackles. "Sensei, you shouldn't be reading that." He glared up the tree at the man. He casually rolled his eye over to look at her. "Why not?" he asked idly. Sakura growled at the inconsiderate man. "What about Hito-chan?" Her voice was more shrill than she wanted, but she couldn't help getting upset at the man. What he was doing was completely inappropriate. "Hito-chan can't read quite yet." Kakashi's tone was full of laughter at her, and she fumed. "I think he's safe for the moment." Knowing that she wasn't going to be getting anywhere with him, Sakura shook her head and stomped off. She couldn't help but feel enraged on behalf of Kakashi's wife. If she ever caught her husband reading porn, she would kick him in the kidneys. Well, unless she married Sasuke. She let Sasuke read porn if he wanted, but he wasn't like that, so she wouldn't have to worry about it. Thankfully, the day was over, so she didn't feel at all bad about leaving the boys with Kakashi and hurrying to find Ino. They may have been rivals, but Ino was from a ninja family, so she'd be able to get some inside information about how shinobi families dealt with marriage and children from the blonde. Not that she thought that Kakashi was anywhere near normal even for shinobi, but there had to be some similarities. Ino! She resisted the urge to add "big" onto the end of Ino's name. She was learning a little diplomacy from her sensei, after all. Mostly what not to do. "What do you want, billboard brow?" Ino sniffed haughtily, and she looked down her nose at the other Kunoichi. "Oh, shut up!" Sakura flung herself onto the bench at the picnic table Ino and her team were lounging around. "Where's your sensei?" "Azuma-sensei?" Ino sneered. "Lazy bum is getting takeout for Choji. He'll be back in a bit." "Why?" She looked curious then. "What's up?" Sakura shivered in pent-up emotions, both good and bad, and then waved her hands, feeling a need to flail a little. "Kakashi-sensei has a son!" Shikamaru raised his head from the table with a jerk. It was the fastest Sakura had ever seen the boy move. "Atake Kakashi?" he questioned, and Sakura nodded her head. "Totally! I was with Kakashi-sensei when he picked Hito-chan up from the daycare, and oh my god, Hito-chan is so adorable!" "Really?" Ino blinked and shook her head. "My dad has repeatedly said that Kakashi wouldn't dare procreate without a veritable army to protect his kid. I mean, Iwa hates him! And he's totally the only student of the Yondame left. If people found out that Hatake-sama had a son..." She trailed off and turned to Shikamaru, pensive. "Shikamaru?" The boy shrugged his shoulders. "It'd be troublesome, but we could ask him." Sometimes Sakura wished that her team was so close that they could have a whole conversation in a few words, like Ino's team seemed to be able to do. "You can ask who about what?" She butted in, curious about what they were talking about. "Our parents," Ino said. "I mean, if anyone knows about the Hatake line being continued, Toho-chan totally would, because he's in the TI department. And Shikamaru's dad is totally the smartest person in Konoha." Sakura frowned. "Ino, I saw Hito-chan. He was totally Kakashi-sensei's son. I mean, he has silvery hair and was wearing a mask, just like Sensei." "You only think that they look alike," Ino scoffed. "You aren't objective anyway, billboard." Sakura rolled her eyes as she retorted, "Ino, Hito-chan is totally Kakashi-sensei's." "You shouldn't be spreading that kind of information around lightly, Sakura-chan," a deep voice said from behind her, and Sakura flinched, turning her head slowly to see Sarutobi Asuma, the son of Sarutobi Hiruzen, towering over her in a manner she was sure that she would have found menacing before working under Kakashi's tutelage for 2.5 months. "Asuma-sensei?" she questioned, and Asuma put the takeout boxes on the table. "Kakashi-san is an infamous shinobi, Sakura-san. He also has a lot of enemies who would love to get their hands on any that he claimed as family." He didn't seem too concerned about it, but Sakura already knew that she was bad at reading Jonin. She couldn't even read her own Jonin sensei. Obviously, she wouldn't be able to read Ino's. Ino straightened, a little intent, and Sakura had to wonder why. "Wait, you know that Hatake-sama has a son?" "He has a family." Asuma shook his head, "and that is all that need be known." Sakura frowned. What was so important about not telling anyone about Kakashi's wife and child? It wasn't like anyone she talked to was dangerous. Can I ask my dad? Ino asked, grabbing her box of food and opening it up. Sakura blinked when she saw the girl separate it into two and offer her a pair of chopsticks. With a smile and a nod of thanks, Sakura picked at the food while she turned her attention back to Asuma to hear his answer to Ino's question. Asuma shrugged a broad shoulder. I'm pretty sure that Inoichi-san already knows Ino-chan. He grinned. If he doesn't, I'm gonna lord this over him like there's no tomorrow. Why would Kakashi hide that he's married? Sakura asked, still not understanding. Wouldn't that be something he'd want to share with his friends? Her eyes widened as she had a scandalous thought, and her voice rose as she continued to throw out unanswered questions. Who was Kakashi-sensei's best man? Who gave Hatake-san away? Did they elope? Whoa. Asuma waved a hand in between them, and Sakura sat back with a frown on her face. Well, she demanded. She was curious. She wanted to know. I haven't heard anything about marriage. Asuma leaned back on the bench, pulling out a pack of cigarettes. Sakura scrunched her nose up at him. She didn't like cigarettes or the smoke that they produced. But they are living together. Sakura's mouth dropped open and she gaped at the bearded man. They're living together without being married? Asuma blinked and sucked back a mouthful of smoke. You need to calm down, Sakura-chan, or you're going to have a heart attack long before you should be worrying about that sort of thing. And you're going to die of cancer! Sakura spat at him absently, her mind furiously going over the information that she'd gathered from her friend Sensei. So Kakashi may or may not be married. That I can confirm. Asuma cut in. But he's living with her and they have a baby together. Tito's not much of a baby anymore, more like a toddler. The Jonin murmured under Sakura's strident voice. And he's still reading porn? Sakura shook her head. That's really low. He should be paying attention to his wife and child. Ino snorted and rubbed her chin. Forehead girl, do you think maybe that one of the reasons he's reading porn is because he's trying to distract people from the fact that he has a family? I mean, he's pretty infamous. I wouldn't be surprised if he was reading porn as an attempt to sway people's opinion of him. How can you take this so calmly? Sakura asked, curious about her friend's seemingly nonchalant attitude about Kakashi's porn reading habit. Ino was always so excited about things, and Sakura wasn't sure she liked this calm and collected Ino. It wasn't the Ino that Sakura was friends with. I remember what happened to Hinata, Ino said shortly, and Sakura paused. And I don't want anything like that to happen to anyone else in Konoha. So I'm going to stop talking about Hatake-san and his family with you now. Sakura watched her friend turn her back on her and direct her attention to her sensei. She felt her heart constrict and for a moment hated Ino. The moment passed quickly and then Sakura could think straight and she wondered what exactly happened to Hinata to make Ino shut her down like that. She watched the other clan heirs her age start to ignore her and resolved to find out what happened to the Hyuga. If it was that important, she should know.